Do you like my new cut? There's a little bit there and there. But hey, you're not for that video. Welcome to GUI. So GUI is basically web development in general. So you will learn the front end aspect of things and such. And yeah, just web development in general. Basic, I would say. So let's go through the assessment first. So there are 3 MCQs that you will need to complete for this 1-year course. So it's 2 semesters course, same as SDPD. 3 MCQs, one for HTML, one for HTML, one for CSS, and one for JavaScript. Each are worth 10%. There's also a practical exam which covers the HTML and CSS content, which is worth 20%, and there's also a final project which is worth 40%. The rest 10% is based on your participation. Yeah, sounds good? Righty, let's get on to the content now. As I said before, there are 3 main things that you're gonna cover: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You're not gonna learn something like Angular. You're not gonna learn something like React.js. You're not gonna learn something like that. We're not gonna cover it this time around. So let's start up with HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and we're gonna learn 5 weeks worth of content here. First week is basics: the head, the body, the headings, and the paragraphs, anything that you create. Second week, we're gonna cover links and directory structure in general, to just link to either web pages or like online pages, for example. Week 3, we're gonna cover the images, inserting the images, style, a basic styling like the width, the height, the whatever, just inserting your images. Week 4, we're gonna cover the coding guidelines, tables, and lists. Yeah, it's just a way to organize your web page in general, and it's a very good thing to learn because it is a key to development. Something like grids or tabs or whatever. Yeah, those tables and lists. It's just get that knowledge kicking in. Then week 5, we're gonna learn about forms. Now, bear in mind, forms are very important as well, like the contact us page, the just filling the pages, and it's useful to get user input in general. And you will learn how to get those values from input later. So let's get to CSS now. So that's HTML, and you're gonna have a test around week 6 or week 7. CSS is cascading style sheets. Now, cascading style sheets are used for presentation and styles in general. So week 7, you're gonna learn about selectors, rows, and such, and just introduction in general. Then we move on to week 8. Week 8 is about colors and text. So something like text align, text size, background color, something like that. You will learn how to edit that and add colors to your text, web pages, and whatever that you're making it of. You're also gonna learn pseudoclasses, which are the CSS selectors which are used in specific cases, like the first line, first letter, hovering elements, links, and just such. And they are very useful for the specific cases in general. Yeah. For week 9, we're gonna cover the box layout. So just to let you know, every single element has a box model, which is just an expanding model from the padding itself, border, all the way to the margin. And it's a thing that is very useful. It configuring the overflow. You will configure the overflow, borders, shadows of the specific elements, etc., etc., etc. And just to make it look nicer in general. Week 10. Now this is where the tables knowledge you learn will come in. Yeah. So grid layout. Grid layout is just a layout method which expands the entire page. Yeah, and it's very useful to arrange everything on the web page nicely, rather than using tables. Tables is just a basic knowledge in general, but for the grid layout, it's very useful. And you also learn a little bit about media query, which is determining the rule of a block of CSS if a certain condition is true. And for this one, you will get to know the div and span tags. So win-win for you. And those tags, by the way, they are very important when it comes to just doing web pages in general. If you go to like inspect elements in every single web page out there, you see divs, you see spans. Yeah, and you see classes as well. Oh yeah, IDs and classes are covered in this thing, so don't worry, it's all good. Then move on to term 2. Now, just evaluate a bit. the term 2 at the beginning of term 2, you're gonna be tested on your CSS skills as well as your practical exams in general. Now after the test, after the practical exams and whatever, you're gonna start doing JavaScript. Now JavaScript, we're gonna start with week 2. Week 2, you're gonna learn the basics. It's just like Java in the previous video, the software development, but the variables do not have to define as like a data type. Yeah, so you don't put int or you don't put like double, you just put like let. That's it, simple as that. And you also learn to output your data by using alerts, web pages, the document.write, and the console itself. And also you're gonna learn how to import with the script tag for the JS files, not CSS, not nice. JavaScript files. So week 3, we're gonna cover the conditional statements, loops, and whatever. It's the same as Java, but the functions on the other hand are different. Yeah, functions and methods are two different things. Functions is like methods, but you know, it's declared much differently. Yeah, like you, for example, when you use method, you have to have like public, static, void, whatever. In this particular cases, function will be just function, the name, the argument, and the statement code block. Yeah, and you're also going to learn coercion, which is just checking data from both the type and the value. Yeah, so if there's 2 equal signs, then that's checking only the value. If there's 3, then that checks the data type as well. This is for JavaScript. Then on week 4, we're gonna cover the document object model, which is DOM, and it's used to manipulate and or get data from elements, like using classes or tags. Yeah, and that's when those 2 things are used to, because you can just change the inner HTML, get the value, or just do whatever the things you want, the styling. Yeah, using DOM in JavaScript. Week 5, we're gonna cover the events, intervals, and dates. So it's just mainly events in general. So it's focused on creating an event when something is interacted, and many events can also be detected. Like for example, like when you click on something, when you push down a key, or when you have the input on something like that. Week 6, we're gonna cover arrays, and it's like in STPD, it's just multiple values stored in a single variable. And you're also gonna learn web storage as well. Web storage is very important when it comes to just transferring the content, the input from one page to the other. So week 10 is gonna be just linking. Yeah, linking with JavaScript, so just linking to like other pages, same as like week 2 of the HTML, but then you use JavaScript to do this kind of stuff, and it's just to be used for the project itself. And that's that. JavaScript exam will be on around like week 7 or so. And then lastly, we're gonna look at some frameworks. So the frameworks that we look to is Twitter, Bootstrap. Now week 7 and 8 are gonna just be focused on just knowing how to use those frameworks in general. Yeah, and you can use other frameworks as well, but Twitter, Bootstrap is just one of the things that we focus on in the course, the module. Week 7, you're gonna learn basic features like the classes, H1, BG, whatever. And the week 8 is gonna be introducing you to the grid system. Yeah, and it makes use of the classes of what I say. Yeah, and that's that for JavaScript and other things for web development, GUI in general. They are very useful, I would say, and if you want to be a front-end engineer or just a full stack engineer, then this is a very useful thing. What I suggest that if you want to go to this path, self-studying is very important, and that, yeah, it's very fun, I would say. That is all. Sorry for like too many cuts. My roommate was just preparing for things and such, so yeah, that's all. Bye bye.